So we've been talking about some obviously heavy stuff going on in the world, which I think is important for us to address those realities and not act like they're not there. But it's also important for us to focus on solutions and the positive things going on. That's a big part of what your work is. I guess the last question I want to ask you is if you had any just message of hope or anything that you would offer. I know you have children. There's people in the audience who have children. I have 6 nieces and nephews, maybe children one day in the future. And very much, what we've been taught in our indigenous communities is think of the 7 generations and beyond. And so what would you offer? Obviously you do it through your music, but any message that you want to leave for people who are feeling down and not feeling very good about where things are headed that you might like to share?
Yeah, I guess I would say that, part of the cunning nature of the system that we live in is it does try to convince us that we're powerless. And I believe that the reason why that's such an important part of the programming is because we have all the power.
Sure.
As the people, when we come together and unite, we have such a force. And it's exponential. The two of us get together and we energetically, we lift each other up and we create something bigger than just 2 people.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for all of the division and all of the,
Exactly.
The agenda and the programming for division, across the board. So I'll say that, like you talked about, just finding ways of divesting yourself from the system.
Yeah.
If it's not financially, just emotionally, spiritually, just with your practices, remembering what's truly important, because, you could be making a ton of money and not put it in a bank and still be buying a bunch of stuff that you don't need. Right. And that's part of the trick of the system too, is just to convince us of all of these things that are material that, are so important. And it's easy to get caught up because there's such brilliant marketing behind it all. And
like you talked earlier in your workshop about getting caught in the social media, the scrolling, and that's another big part of it.
Absolutely. Divesting yourself, taking the time to have the discipline to say like, hey, I'm addicted to this. I need to get myself off of it. I need to take more time to sit and meditate. And that's really the thing I would say that, when we go back to that song, Permanent Holiday, and being on a permanent holiday, I guess what I was trying to get across before is like being on a permanent holiday is it takes work. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's a rewarding type of work. When you're doing work that helps others, when you're doing work that takes care of your family, that lifts up your community, it's very rewarding. It doesn't leave you at the end of the day feeling tired, feeling exhausted. I walk on stage after so much energy flowing through every time, more energized than when I walked on.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, how do you do it night after night? Well, it's such a bringer of energy that it energizes me and takes care of me, as well.
Yeah.
So finding something like that you can do and, that you really, I feel like we're born to do, that you came here to do, and putting energy into it every day. Yeah. And if you are working in an 80-hour work week, it's not going to be easy, right? But even if it starts with 5 minutes of a day of sitting down and saying, I'm going to take this time to meditate, to sit, to silence my mind, to silence my thoughts, and just ask the question, how can this get better? What can I do to make this better? What am I here to do? What is my mission? What is my purpose? How can I help? How can I help my community? How can I help the people that I love around me divest from this system that's eating us alive? And it could start there, and the thing is that I find, is the more you take the time to ask those questions, the more the answers just come.
Yeah.
And it's a practice, right? Just like anything, it's a practice. And the more that you do it, the more time you put into it, the Most High will recognize that. The universe will recognize that.
The universe conspires with you.
Yeah.
To bring you what you need.
Mm-hmm. But it's not going to just be like, here you go on your lap. If you're just, willing to be good with it, if you're willing to work those 80 hours a week and then just come home and flop down in the chair and, fall asleep to Netflix with a beer in your hand. You
got to put energy into the things you love and cultivate that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's beautiful.
And you have to be willing to, sometimes push beyond what you think you're capable of. And so much of the reward for me in this music thing has come from just doing things that, I've been in the midst of it and thought to myself, I don't know anybody in this whole world out of all the people that I know that could pull this off right now. And I just know that if I don't do it, it's not going to happen. Like none of these things line up and happen without me just pushing through and getting this thing done against all odds with, whatever time that I have and just, miraculously doing it. And when you do that, there's an abundant reward for that, You
got to push yourself past what you think you're capable of.
Yeah, exactly. And
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah. And then, as that grows, that, I feel like that 80-hour work week is going to become, a 60-hour work week because, the abundance will start to come from manifesting that. Absolutely. And then all of a sudden, these other sources of support will come in. And then all of a sudden, you don't need to be, paying the rent with working at McDonald's or working at the gas station or whatever it is, or working at the bank or.
Yeah. And a big part of that is just trusting. You just got to be willing to trust and put your everything into it. I appreciate you making time,
absolutely.
Brother. Your website is MikeLove.com, right?
Mike Love Music.
My Love Music. Okay, perfect. Everybody check him out. I will put some links to the videos and highly encourage you, check out what this man's doing. Until next time, remember, as always, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.